It feels so good to be back. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to the second best day of the week. We missed the first best day of the week on Wednesday, and it didn't feel right. I didn't sleep right. I haven't slept right in 2 days. Okay? Still got a little bubble guts. I ain't gonna lie to you boys. All right, little man still fighting through it too. But we're bouncing here. We're ready to rock and roll. Got a quick little nap in to be prepared for this moment right here. People are like, what the hell is going on? This is the Wednesday show, but on Friday. All right? I couldn't stand missing it. Thankfully, it was a bye week. Nothing too crazy. But I missed y'all. You guys showed a lot of love in the comments, making sure that I was good. Made my heart warm and happy. I appreciate your love and support for my health and my safety and for the family. We are good. We're back. We're on the climb. But you know, sometimes that kind of lingers a little bit when you puke your brains out for about 9 hours straight. All right, it was ruthless. Not to get too gruesome here, but it was touch and go there for a bit. Smash the like button, subscribe. Good to see you. This show is brought to you by Tecovas, Prize Picks, all the good jazz. We got David Soderquist joining us today. We're going to talk about some recruiting. We're going to talk about this bye week, what's happening, what's old Napier doing, okay? Then we're going to talk about some NIL drama. Then, of course, the topic that continues to be brought up week in and week out, the temperature, the pulse. Where is Napier? What are we doing with old Billy Ballsack? How's his seat today? I'm sure he's sick of hearing about it. I'm sure some of you are here sick about it. To be perfectly frank, I'm sick of talking about it. But here's where we're at. Mr. David Soderquist joining us on this beautiful Friday afternoon. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, man, it's the best day of the week on a Friday, by the way. I'm about to ask people what they're drinking on because it is Friday. But hey, we're here. It's a makeup day from Wednesday. Let's get it. Let's go.
Love you more, Wes. Love you more, Bubba. Good to see you. Happy to have you here. Look, maybe we should start doing the shows on Friday so you can ask that question to kick it off. I like it. Yeah, I like having this 5 o'clock. My energy is much more exuberant at 5:15 versus 8:35. I will say that. I can be a little louder. Kids still up. High noons are flowing. We might be onto something. I can't ever get rid of Wednesday. Ever get rid of Wednesday. But Dave, we're on a time limit today too. In a good way, Dave's the army knife of just humans. He does everything. Swiss Army knife of humans. He does it all. You DJing tonight? Is that what we're doing?
Helping my buddy out, DJ, but I'm not DJing. He is.
He's a DJ. Boys and girls, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the future of Napier, where people are standing. Little preview of that. Dave got Napier tatted on his ass this past weekend after the W to show you where he stands. But let's get into the bye week, what's happening here. So teleconference on Wednesday, Napier talked about what they're doing. Obviously, we heard about the changes from the first bye week, which for those of you that don't know or follow along, I learned this from Neil on in all kinds of weather when he had us on the show at the beginning of the year. We always have 2 bye weeks on election year because it's also leap year. So the weeks there's like an extra week in there or something like that. I don't know. It's math. So that's why we have a second. This is usually the only bye week we have. We maybe got a little bit of a cheat code because we figured something out in that first bye week. We've seen the defense since that bye week has been absolutely electric after that. And so their intentions of what they did that last week, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's keep it rocking and rolling. Let's just do what we're doing. What I'm excited to see, though, Kermani McClain, I imagine, is going to get some of those first round reps for this practice. DJ Lagway, somebody else who's going to be getting these first-round reps. And obviously next week, we're going to have Uncle Lou on Wednesday. We'll do a much bigger preview of that Georgia game. My concerns, my things that I'm excited about. But that offense is going to be something that has to be clicking. They're going to bring a lot of pressure to DJ. I hope they try to emulate that. Again, the whole idea of what they're doing with these bye weeks is what you think, well, shouldn't you be doing that for all bye weeks? But no, they weren't. It's just simulate real-life games as much as possible and bring the energy. Your thoughts on this, though, Big Dave? How you feeling about this bye week and the thoughts and the things you're hearing thus far?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, the past 2 games, or I guess 3 games, the Tennessee game you still should have won. But, I mean, like if you're looking at the defense as a whole and how the way that they're playing, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I saw a pick 6 from this defense. And you put on a kid that's a walk-on, quote-unquote, Kermani McClain, a 5-star number 1 cornerback from 2023. That's the type of prospects you want on your team, and these are the things that these type of prospects can do for you and change the game a little bit. Of course, we had a couple more interceptions there as well, but, you look at that Kentucky game, and I've kind of, looked how the defense played. And look, they played more physical. They've been playing more physical the past 3 games, and I give them credit. Also, they're not rotating anymore. And I think that was the biggest thing that obviously was a nail in the coffin for some of the people on the defense. And look, I mean, Kentucky, you look at where the balls were thrown. I mean, I think they drove it down the field one time for a touchdown. The other one was like a kickoff return, and
Flea
then you
flicker.
had like the two interceptions. And I hate to say this because it's not. I feel like I'm not giving the defense enough credit, but I will say this because I learned this from Ahmad Black because he said it one time too. So a lot of the balls that Kentucky threw, the receiver didn't catch it. It would bounce off. It'd land in somebody's hands, like from Florida, which is just an unfortunate thing for Kentucky. But Ahmad Black always said, look, you got to be in the area of the pass. Like, even if you can't reach the guy, be in the area of the pass because it can be dropped and you can be right there to intercept the pass. And he was really good at that. Ahmad Black was really good at being in the area of where the ball was at and ball hawking it. So I have to give credit. I got to tip my hat to the defense. So far, 3 games, they've been playing pretty well. I mean, the quarterback, you can say the quarterbacks haven't been that great. And of course, Nico struggled a little bit. You know, KJ Jefferson obviously isn't a great quarterback, but he ran all over us last year. So you got to tip your hat to the defense there. And then Kentucky's quarterback, Vandegrift, obviously they haven't been able to muster up a lot of offense, but defensively, they were keeping teams under 20 points, and Florida just mollywopped them, put 48 on them. Granted, the turnovers did help, but that's what helps your offense out is when you can get turnovers and play good defense. Now, if this offense can keep this defense can keep humming, get some turnovers, especially for DJ Lagway. I mean, this kid like threw 5 explosive passes that game. Of course, we want to see more of the intermediate stuff. We kind of saw it a little bit in the Miami game, but like this kid is throwing darts down the field in deep balls, and they're accurate. Like they're in stride. A receiver's not having to slow down or is not sailing over their head. And the accuracy and just the touch that DJ Lagway has on his passes is like the I don't know. It's amazing for somebody that's a true freshman to come out there and do that. Obviously, you won a bunch of awards in high school, the high school Heisman, the Bobby Dodd Back Trophy. I mean, this kid had all the tools anyway, and I don't even know why he wasn't starting game 1. I think the season would be a lot different if he was starting game 1. Of course, he's going to make his mistakes. He's going to throw his turnovers. It's what a true freshman does. I mean, they got to get used to the offense. They got to get used to the routes. He's thrown a couple routes too soon, I've noticed, and one of them resulted into a pick. One of them resulted in just the receiver not turning around. The other one was the receiver. He turned around in time anyway and caught it, but almost didn't. So he's going to take his lumps, but he's going to learn as he goes around. And this bye week is it's a good thing to have for a true freshman to get ready because he's going to have to play a really, really good defense in Georgia coming up in Jacksonville. Yeah,
look, this defense is going to be next level. And I think the quarterback play, you kind of are making that point. And look, it's a tough line to toe here. We're not trying to be pessimistic, although Dave loves that energy. I'm not at all. I've been saying it's like, look, I think this defense has gotten increasingly better. I think we brought a lot of pressure to the quarterback to force him to make some throws. Now, to be fair, Carson Beck hasn't looked sexy, and next week that's part of going to be my thesis is that Carson Beck might be Florida's best player in the sense that hey, they haven't looked that great. He hasn't looked that great, but that defense is going to be something outrageous that I don't believe they face, and that's going to be something that look, what can they do in this bye week to emulate that explosive defense? That safety play is going to be some of the top safety play that he has played. Him slinging it up the middle, trying to split that cover 2. That is what I'm interested to see what DJ is going to be able to do. I don't think he's going to get away with it like he was this past weekend. But going back to your pick plays, the way that Kamani picked that play, biting on a curl route or some of my favorites, because they're basically automatic pick sixes. Just you kind of play off a little bit, you reel in the quarterback to make that throw, and you trust your athletic ability to jump on that thing and take control of it. So I love those kind of pick sixes. I see Uncle Lou in here running his mouth a little bit, but
and I heard a couple people saying, "Well, that ball floated up in the air. You still got to be there to get it." And he was the only one there to get it, so you can't win. Have to give him credit for it. Yeah.
You can't win.
And then he had a nice pass breakup too at the end. There on a deep shot too. So
absolutely. So Uncle Lou says Florida's 50th in recruiting. Dang, hashtag support Billy. Uncle Lou, you can't talk about recruiting. You said you don't support recruiting anyways, and you don't follow along, so you can't. You lost credibility in that argument. I disregard your comment. Debbie Marsh says, don't forget to hit the like button. Love you guys. Love you too. Debbie, thank you for the support and for the show as always on this Friday.
What rank is Georgia in arrest right now? Are they not like number 1?
In what? Oh, an arrest.
An arrest.
Yeah. They lead the way. To say the least. But so look, we haven't heard much of this. What's going on for injury updates? Caden Daniels and Trayon Webb, they're making some progress. I haven't heard anything on Jason Marshall. I know he was dealing with a shoulder injury. I'd imagine there's probably a couple of weeks. I think we're honestly waiting to see the severity of it, whether it's a couple of weeks, maybe like a pop shoulder or a collarbone. Have you heard any more? That we probably won't get much more until Wednesday, if I had to guess, of next week.
I heard something like a collarbone, but I don't know. Like, is it a shattered collarbone? Is it something they were able to? So supposedly somebody had posted. I can't remember who posted the photo on Twitter. Somebody posted a photo of him not in the sling anymore. But I mean, it still doesn't mean anything. But I did hear something around like collarbone, something like that. So we'll see. I guess in the next presser.
Amen. Nick says, "Who's calling the plays on defense?" Look, I mean, we don't. If you ask Billy, it's the entire team. I think if we've seen an adjustment from 1 week to another. The big change was Armstrong is now on the sidelines. Since the bye week, he has been on the sidelines while we assume that Ron Roberts is up in the box. My assumption is that it's a combination of both. I think Armstrong is more of an in-game feel kind of guy, and I think Roberts is maybe facilitating, like kind of doing like a coach's suggestion. Here's the 3 plays in this scenario that fit best. You make the call on what you're feeling. Like I get who nobody really knows. Just what we know, the conversations we've had. I think there's a little bit of that going on, if I had to guess. And I think probably the same thing's going on with Callaway and Billy, to be honest with you. I think Callaway's up in the box. Hey, here's the 3 things that I think based on the defense, based on what they usually run on this play. What do you think? And Billy makes a call based on the 3. We literally have no clue. Billy hasn't given us any hope. Why would he? Who knows? Doesn't matter. All we can do is guess.
I don't think the offense has really changed at all. I think the offense with the quarterback is being executed a lot better, especially in the deep passing plays. Like I think the offense is more explosive with DJ Lagway. I just think the play calls have not changed once a bit. And of course, when you're running an RPO offense, you got a dual threat quarterback that opens it up on your offense, and the defense has to account for a running quarterback on top of the run coming from a running back somewhere else too. So it is helping DJ Lagway out a little bit, but I still want to see some of those intermediate 10, 20-yard throws, 5, 10-yard throws, that kind of stuff too. But the good part is he doesn't check it down a lot. So
yeah, we talked about that on Monday with Stephen Harris, and we broke that down a little bit. It's just the factor of DJ Lagway, what he brings to the table is you have those guys have to bite. They have to respect that DJ Lagway can torch you with his feet, which it allows for that offense and what Napier is running to open up, which we've been clamoring for that for quite some time. That's kind of a little bit too deep in my ear. Let's head into recruiting, which has it's funny Uncle Lou is throwing some jabs there because it has been a little lackluster. We're going to get into that at the end of the show where we talk about the hot seat that everybody is discussing a little bit, that it hasn't been as sexy as we want it to be, but we have extended an offer to 3-star quarterback Robert McDaniel. Uncle Lou just laughed, currently committed to Arizona. And then also the number 1 JUCO offensive lineman, which that excites me. Okay, well, at least he's some trench work. Here's where
might get our class at like 39 now.
All right. Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. So Robert McDaniel did compete in the Elite 11 when George McIntyre, Tennessee commit, pulled out of it and had some success there. So he's about 6'1", 190. We'd like for him to put on some more weight. And Robert McDaniel. This to me. This is a project quarterback. We kind of said that all along that 2025 would be. I think 2026, he's a 4-star kid. That kid's going to be a legitimate threat. This kid wouldn't start next year anyways, right? Ideally, DJ is going to be the guy next year. Not that you ever want to put your eggs in one basket, but I think that if we are able to get Robert and we can go get also look into the portal for a solidified backup, that could probably be the play here. But look, with someone like a DJ Lagway, and with just the future of things, finding yourself a solidified quarterback, it's going to be tough. That just is what it is. We are not in a good place right now. Not making excuses. I mean, look, your concerns are rationalized here with how we're doing on the recruiting side of things. If we had a healthy recruiting class already, these 2 additions would be fantastic, right? These are the kind of guys that, like, I love this. We need these guys. These are important pickups. Brian Taylor, JUCO transfer on the defensive line, has had a huge impact this year. So I think the offensive lineman is a bigger pickup than what it's getting credit for because he is a 3-star. But these JUCO guys, it's a different kind of 3-star. He is the number 1 offensive lineman from JUCO who could have a early impact more than a 4-star offensive lineman, if that makes sense, because they played somewhat of a collegiate level of ball. Robert McDaniel, again, is more of a project piece, kind of like what a Max Brown was. need some more time under the table. So, look, not sexy. I get it. A little bit of a pulse. This isn't going to save anybody's job, but it is Florida football news. So I wanted to tell everybody.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you pull somebody from JUCO, it's like scratching a lottery ticket to me. Either 50% they're going to be good, or 50% they're going to come to college and be okay. But you pull the number one JUCO guy from anywhere, like say for instance, Florida pulls him. I mean, he's going to be productive at some point just because he has college experience. At the same time, he's the number one JUCO guy, so he could either be really, really good or just productive in that. I don't think we've ever pulled a JUCO guy that just straight up was awful, except for maybe a few of them that were number one JUCO players. But at least you're pulling a guy with college production, a guy that obviously is tearing it up in JUCO. So hey, let's bring him to the next level and see what he can do.
Yeah, look, again, these aren't going to knock anybody's socks off, or let's even say save Napier's career with landing these two guys, but they're still important pieces, right? That you need to have to a class. We don't have a quarterback for 2025 right now. We've already done that once. We did it in 2024 with no quarterback, right? Was it 2024 or 2023 that we didn't recruit when it was the Rashad and Marcus Stoke class, right? We came in with no quarterback. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then we went and got Graham Mertz.
Yeah, we had both of them committed, and then they both had to decommit. Well, one got his scholarship pulled. We all know about that, and the other one, wanted $80 million that he thought he was going to get, which is ridiculously stupid. But yeah.
To be fair, we made it through that lump of no quarterbacks, and look, I think we're in a fantastic position with quality of quarterbacks. Quantity is still a question, but there's a program they're working on developing guys, but they're definitely not stacked like I would like them to be. Like the running back room looks somewhat quite healthy. We've got 241 strong on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Be sure to smash the like button, boys. Really appreciate you guys hopping in, tuning in to our second best day of the week. We had to move and finagle our Wednesday show around, given me being under the weather, but we're here. We're rocking and rolling. We're about to talk about an NIL situation, which I think, Dave, it's an interesting one. I actually read the article. It's not what it appeared. It's not how the article was written. The Louisville kid. Very interesting, which is funny because when I saw it, I thought the same thing that you did, which is this is what clickbait actually is, kind of, sort of. Then we'll talk about a graph that was produced today from DJ Lagway. Very interesting. Max Brown's on this list. Graham Mertz is on this list. Very fun to see. I love how I say drop likes and people dislike. That's very upsetting. And then, of course, we're going to talk about
what are they disliking
I
for?
don't know. What are you mad about? Yeah, it's Friday. Grab a drink. Goodness. Look, boys and girls, anywhere worth going is worth going to good boots. Find your perfect pair with Tecovas. I'm pumped to be paired with Tecovas. I told you guys this was happening. It's finally locked and loaded. We are dialed in. These boys be just handcrafting the sexiest pair of Tecovas. My buddy actually, we've been talking about it. He is obsessed with them now. He's got a belt coming, a wallet. He got himself a pair of boots as well. Look, and a pair of loafers. He is dialed in and locked in with Tecovas. You guys were hitting me up in the comment sections like, hey, when is this code happening? Which I was like, yo, this is nuts. I love it. But most of you guys have been rocking around, know what's up with Tecovas. We're excited to be working with them. The fantastic quality boots, all handcrafted from Texas, last 15 years. I love it. So I want to make sure I say all the right things before we move on. But be sure to check them out. Obviously, when you do check them out, you make sure you get 10% off. This is huge. Look, these boots they're up there in price, but they're high quality boots. They're boots that will last a lifetime. Boots you pass down to your kids. Like those are the kind of boots or loafers that you get. I've got a pair of like Italian loafers that we've got from my stepdad got it from some guy who passed away. He does plumbing work, and the wife was like, here, take these. Like I'm talking like creme de la creme loafers. Like that's what these are. They fit into that category where you can have them forever if you take care of them. The leather is exceptional. But head on over to Tecovas right now. 10% off at tecovas.com /hightop when you sign up for email and text. That's 10% off at Tecovas, TECOVAS.com /hightop. So see site for details and point your toes west. Again, very pumped to be tagged up with these guys. Think their quality is exceptional. Also, if you have one located around you, Tecovas, go to the store. They give you free booze, try on boots, smell the leather, lick it. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic time. Then go home and order online so you can get that discount. You know what I'm saying? David Day.
That's it, dog.
I love it. I love it. Tecovas. All right, let's talk about this. So Colin Lucy, you said this to me because I think you were under the impression that he quit on the team. Correct me if I'm wrong. That he basically redshirted, which seems to be a trend. And that's, look, you're not wrong for seeing this headline and thinking, okay, he quit on the team, and then the way that it reads is that they're trying to negotiate a new deal to bring him back. Is that how you took it?
In a way, yes, but not like quit on the team. But yeah,
Okay, how did you take it then?
I took it as him just trying to get leverage for more NIL.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So it wasn't that. He got injured last year, had surgery, came back, played one game, realized like I'm not at my 100%. It's best for me to redshirt.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So, and look, you're not wrong for thinking that, because I thought the same thing. I was like, let me read this before we look like doofuses on here. The reason I also wanted to bring it up, because it's actually a promising story. Like, this is where it is in good favor, where the school is looking out for the player. It's like, hey, let's redshirt. We'll take care of you, and let's figure this thing out. There is the good side of it, and I feel like we always, and a lot of people do, we always highlight the negative things. And I wanted to highlight the positive, because this was a positive story in this redshirting NIL saga that we are going through this currently during this season. Because what's funny today, I was talking with a guy, because the Quinn Ewers, I don't know if you saw, but after the Georgia game 247 dropped that he was quitting or redshirting to get prepared for the NFL. 247 dropped this, and he came out and said that it wasn't true. And the guy even mentioned, he goes, yeah, it would make sense. And I'm like, that would be blasphemy to me. In my opinion, Quinn Ewers hasn't done a damn thing to solidify himself as a top-tier elite quarterback. If anything, the last week has decreased his value. And then like other guys have done, like Caleb Williams said, obviously the last couple of games. Like, yeah, but Caleb Williams on Heisman and did multiple things. Quinn Ewers hasn't done those things yet. So, but it brought up a point. Could we see where guys start redshirting out of nowhere? We've seen guys set up bowl games. That I've seen. But middle of the season?
Yeah, it's weird, because like you get where like kids would want to sit out the bowl game, especially if their draft grades are really high. You're not going to want to risk injury in a meaningless bowl game. So of course that makes sense. You're playing 4 games in and then just redshirting, and not in this case, obviously, because we discussed it, but like you're playing 4 games and redshirting for what? To go transfer somewhere else to leverage more NIL? I mean, like, to me, it makes no sense. Like, I guess there's a different situation for every scenario, but if you're just trying to leverage NIL, first of all, that tells me you're not good enough to get in the NFL, or at least you don't believe that you're good enough to get in the NFL. So you're trying to leverage more NIL money. And if you're not, you're going to go transfer somewhere else to get more NIL money and play for that team. So it's like, I don't know what everybody's situation is, obviously, but like I have seen a lot of kids opt out the 4th game for no reason whatsoever. And you're wondering, like, why are they doing that? Like, what's the ultimate, like what do you get out of it in a way? Because it just makes no sense. Because like at the end of the day, like no matter what kind of advantage you're trying to take of opting out for after your 4th game, if there's a good reason behind it, okay. But if there's not a good reason, you're just quitting on your team and you're just trying to leverage NIL.
What is interesting is obviously when this first happened, I think there were some concerns with some thoughts. We brought ourselves up on the show. I thought Eugene would be one of those guys that would redshirt this year. We had Andy Staples come on, and like the reason for postponing the release of Napier was this redshirt situation. Nobody's quit on the team, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're upset with your coaching situation, I could understand. You want to redshirt after your 4th game, whatever, transfer somewhere else. As you said, nobody's done that so far. So something is clicking back there in the locker room, and it's something you love to see, especially as a Florida Gator fan. But I mean,
Dave
when
hates
you
it.
talk about how this defense has played, how this team has looked after the Mertz injury, I mean, they've looked different. I'm not going to say that they're night and day different yet, because the meat of the schedule is coming up. So we'll see what happens there. You blew the Tennessee game that you automatically I can't even blame the team for that, because that was on coaching. But you blew the Tennessee game. So now how do you travel to Jacksonville? How do you play Texas? How do you play Ole Miss? How do you play LSU? I mean, these are 4 hard games you got coming up. FSU is trash. You're going to beat them easily. But like these next 4 games are what's really going to decide, hey, is this team for real or are they not?
They're for real, Dave. Billy Billionaire, 1 month of membership. Hey guys, love the show. Let's smash the like button. Noah's roasting my eyebrows. They are looking a little extra thick today. I will give them credit on that one. They do look a little extra juicy than normal. That is fair. For those,
you gotta get a little trim,
bro.
man.
I do, bro. They're just thick, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just bring the thunder. Your mom loves it, so why would I change it? You know, there's no need for me to be.
Yeah, I know. Your mom likes mine too. So,
all right, boys. This little graphic here was dropped earlier today, and by golly, spit on me. You know what I mean? What is ironic is the Max Brown over there, right, left. However you're looking at this thing, what this chart is, it's these things are hard to read. I'm going to be honest with you. They're exhausting. I try to kind of simplify it. Basically, it's big time throws, big time oofs. Oh, that's what it says at the top. All right, perfect. I didn't even see that. Kind of like what is, you kind of find your little average. Where do you sit? All right, so top left is obviously just big time throws. Yes, but whole lot of big oofs. Okay, so Maxi can sling it, which we are aware of. That's what that's telling me, right?
There are some charts that I just like look at and I don't even get. I'm like, how do you know what's going on here?
All right, that's actually no. Max Brown is he's in big turnover rates and in not many.
It's turnover worthy plays is like, how many turnover worthy plays are you throwing? Basically.
Yeah. Anyways, where you want to be is in the top right, where you're in the low oof part of the category, because you see the bottom right is 0%. Yeah, so Max Brown and the Charlotte guys, a lot of big plays, but also a lot of big turnover rates. So it's either home run, live or die by the three is kind of how they're playing there. You see in a minimum of 80 snaps, I believe, is what this criteria is coming from as well. You see DJ Lagway up there in that top right-hand corner. Again, we've talked about the freshman mistakes, that he will be making those mistakes. He will have the blunders, which we have seen, but he's overcome those. We've said that, we've seen it, we felt it. This chart is just proving that, but it's proven it to be even more true, that he's overcoming more than I think that we can even fathom, because that's what this is showing right here. I mean, he's in the category. Cam Ward's up there, Shador Sanders is up there, Diego from Vanderbilt. Graham Mertz, you can't really see him because the chart's kind of small, but he's in the bottom left quadrant. So very minimal turnover, a little bit under the average, kind of below that 5%, but basically big plays don't exist, under 2.5% in big plays, which we knew. That was kind of what he brought to the table. What you and I have been arguing is where DJ sits. I think we would argue that maybe DJ probably closer to the dotted line in that same height, right? But closer to the dotted line, meaning his turnover rate would probably be a little bit higher. And look, I think maybe as the season goes on, could it tone back a little bit? What I would love to see him honestly more is probably not quite Cam Ward, kind of. Honestly, if he stays right there, I mean, what am I complaining about? Like, that would be incredible. I think that's, might be a little bit of an outlier, but because as the season goes on, we know the schedule is going to get a little more daunting. But minimum 80 snaps, so it's not inflated where it's like, oh, he only snapped so many times. Like, he had to meet a minimal requirement. Really cool to see him in this group of quarterbacks this year, and we've seen how Cam Ward has played and Shador Sanders. Those guys are in the top echelon of this group.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens when he plays better defensive lines, has pressure on him. I'm curious to see what happens when he's pressured. Like, when you pressure a true freshman quarterback, they're liable to throw an interception somewhere. They're less likely to throw it out of bounds. I mean, Cam Ward does it all the time, and he's tenured. I don't know why he doesn't throw it out of bounds sometimes, and he throws turnovers. But, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, you'll see that out of a quarterback. Is he smart enough to throw it out of bounds when he knows he doesn't have a play? Is he going to check it down if he doesn't have a play? I think that's something I'm wanting to see out of Lagway. And we've only seen, 2 full games worth of him. And look, he throws an explosive pass. I'm not going to lie. Like, the touch that he has on those passes are ridiculous, especially for a true freshman. But I want to see if Lagway can play a game where he's not really consistently pressured, because if you're consistently pressured as a quarterback, you're just probably going to have a bad game. But what does he do under pressure? How does he perform under pressure? I mean, he's thrown 5 touchdowns. He's got 5 interceptions. So his touchdown interception ratio is like right at 500. And of course, you're going to get that from a true freshman quarterback. How does he handle these next 3 to 4 games when the defensive lines are better? How does the offensive line hold up against them as well, because I mean, you go back, you look at the Kentucky game, there's a lot of plays where he could just drop back in the pocket and torch somebody. I want to see what happens when he's pressured. Does he take off and run and get 10 yards? Does he get sacked? Does he throw it out of bounds? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I look for in the quarterback. Can you do simple things right on top of the explosive pass plays? Now, if he's just throwing bombs and they're connecting, I mean, go with whatever works. I mean, I'm not telling you to go away from whatever works in your quarterback game, but I would like to see some of the other simple things going on. But man, if the explosive play is there, take it.
Yeah, look, I think that's gonna be a big thing this week or next week. Is can we simplify the game a little bit? Can we get the checkdowns going? Can we, those quick decisions? I think that's gonna be huge. What we saw at the end of tennis.
He has a bye week.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect time for a bye week. You got a true legitimate start. You got that energy, the wind beneath your wings this past week. You saw at Tennessee the pressure when they brought the pressure. You saw the kind of the flustering happen, and that's what I'm concerned about. Again, he still able to step up into the pocket and sling it. Jason Lamberth says 3-star Billy. What are we doing? Talking about 3 stars. It's Florida. Love this comment. Love your aggression and your passion here. I get where you're coming from, and I totally understand that.
Mhm.
My counter to that is this past weekend, I can assure you, you were cheering for Jaden Ball, and you were talking about Jaden Ball. I can assure you that you were fired up with old Jack Pyburn. Okay? Both 3 stars. So we talk about 3 stars here at Florida from time to time. All right? One of those 3 stars set a record this past weekend. So let's not sleep on it. All right? I understand we're frustrated. I get you. It's a bye week. Cut me some slack.
Well, I think when recruiting sleeping on top of that, then yeah, I mean, I think you can
look.
Listen,
Man. I don't disagree with you, Dave. I think it needs to get sexied up a little bit, and it hasn't been quite sexy.
No, it turns out when your coach is still in the hot seat and kids don't think he's going to be there and your boosters pull all their money, that's what you get. That's the results you get. So I don't know. I don't know how it gets any better, but hey, this is why we watch the game and this is why I report the news. So
Tim finally says he loves some pie burn. Boys and girls, last little bit here, and then we're going to talk about the hot seat. We're going to wrap up the hot seat. But before we get into that, let's talk about Prize Picks, because we are also brought to you by Prize Picks. I dialed one up for us today, boys. Big time game. Both 5-1 here. Ashton Genty, Ricky White, both teams with 1 loss. Sexy one. Ashton Genty, Boise. The boys are out there doing some things. They're an opportunity to make the playoffs here. We'll see how this plays out. We go to Prize Picks right now. Check this out. Two-player lineup. We got Ashton Genty to have more than 149.5 rushing yards. It's going to show 192. Click the little toggle. Make it a little bit easier for us. All right? Then if you want to do 192, you can feel it. I just felt like, he's been doing it. Don't get it twisted. He's been doing it. It almost feels like it'd be more fun to go at it that way, but I wanted to do 149, and we're at 106 and a half. I can see this thing getting juicy for more than 106. So this is what I'm wrong. If you guys want to tail this, rock with us. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. I decided to keep with 2. I like to keep it healthy, right? What's great about this is once we lock this and we win this lineup tonight, the money is back in there within like 15 minutes, boys. The thing's dialed in. So download Prize Picks, boys. Tail this with me. I've already locked it in. I think I put 20 bones on this bad boy. All right? Feeling juicy. Feeling juicy.
That Gianti, man, he is killing it right now, averaging like 200 rush yards a game, 9.9 yards per rush. Like,
let him know.
I see Heisman written all over that. Now, of course, you got Travis Hunter out there too. I know I went back and forth with somebody about Travis Hunter. He is playing both sides of the football too, so you got to count into his statistics as
I don't
well.
know, man.
But man, for somebody to rush 200 yards per game, I don't care what division you're playing in. It does not matter to me. That is insane. Like, that is statistically insane. That kid could play in the SEC. Like, literally, the kid could play in the SEC if he wanted to.
He's so fun to watch. I can't wait to watch him tonight. But, again, download the app today. Use the code HIGHTOP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup, okay? Use the code HIGHTOP. Download the app, Prize Picks. Okay, so Prize Picks, run your game. Now, let's talk about the last little bit here before we wrap this bad boy up. It's been a topic of conversation. Look, if you're sick of hearing about it, it's like anything. It's like when COVID came, everybody talked about it. It's like the election right now, everybody's talking about it. Speaking of that, who are you voting for, Dave? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't answer that question. I'm just kidding. I don't get into that bullshit.
Voting for
no, Dave,
high
don't
top.
do that. Okay.
I'm voting for high top.
We're writing them in, baby. We're writing them in. Man, it's mad. It's mayhem. But you can't get away from it. That's kind of where we're at right now with this situation with Napier. And I knew after that game that it would be brought back up. Stephen Harris came back on. He's back on board. You are still not on board. We were even talking before the show, and we talked 2 weeks ago. What would it take to be back on board? I think at this point, Dave is fully off the board. I need to see what I look. This Georgia game is going to tell me a lot. I think the way we've two things, and then I'm going to let you go. He said all off season, three things. I think all off season, like how he loses is what's going to be important, or how they win these games. I've said it all week last week, and I said it on Tuesday. Excuse me. This game on Saturday was the most complete game I've seen from Florida and Billy Napier. Some may say a little bit too late, and I don't disagree. But something seems to have clicked. Something has changed. I understand you can argue this Kentucky team isn't just that great of a Kentucky team, but it's still Kentucky. They've looked fantastic in other games. They looked good against Georgia. They beat Ole Miss. It's not like they're just some walkover football team. They've had his number for the last 2 years in Billy Napier. So for them to come in there and do what they did, DJ Lagway, another saving grace we've talked about. That's another big one, a big component that a lot of people, we even said it, look, if things aren't going right, throw in DJ, show us some promise. There's an opportunity here. That's where we're at. That's where we're sitting at right here. So we'll look, I'm not sold either. I'm still have my reserves as well. Again, the win was very promising, very exciting. It just looked very sound. I think there's an opportunity here at Georgia. I know this is going to be a much more of a daunting task in Georgia. I even said if they went out, which I know people laugh, but you still weren't on board. I go, playoffs? And you still weren't on board? Because the recruiting class, You don't think it'll turn things around? But
I don't know where the boosters' mindsets are. I don't know if they are like strictly, hey, I talked to a lot of them. They're strictly that they're done. Like, but at the same time, like, what if you finish the whole season? Or are they going to change their minds and be like, oh, we need to keep Billy Napier another year? Here, let's help him out with this recruiting class and the transfer portal. And I'm like, then why did you pull your money? Like, you should have kept your money in there if you wanted him to stay. If you were undecided, you should have just kept your money in there. Look, man, seven. I was told this 7 assistants contracts expire after this season, and I made sure I wrote it down and all that. I mean, you got boosters that pulled their money. Your class is ranked 50th. You have a season with a first-round draft pick quarterback. Then you win 5 games the next season. You find ways to lose games that season. You found a way to lose to Tennessee. You got mollywopped by a Miami team that's struggling against these 3-3 ACC teams and barely getting past them. And you lost to a second-string quarterback. I mean, like, what makes people think that, like, Napier's going to go straight into Jacksonville, straight towards Texas, and just completely win those games? Now, if he does, I'll come back. I'll eat my words and be like, holy crap, Lagway's a savant. He's the man. But I don't see it. I just think that, one win against Kentucky, you're going to have to do more convincing to me than just one win against Kentucky and a crappy UCF team.
that was the best thing I think you said this entire time. I love how you phrase that. It's like, what makes you believe that, hey, he's going to go in there? And I completely agree. My thing is, I don't like to cheer against it. That part I can't do. I am concerned.
No, dude, trust me. I live in Georgia. If Billy Napier goes in there and he mollywops and blows, even if he just wins, I will be ecstatic. I will be wearing my Florida shit. Oh,
you get Napier tatted on your ass?
All around Georgia, and I'll be rubbing it in.
Oh man, that'd be a hell of a W for sure. But look, I think there is and we've said it, we've talked about it. There seems to be a civil war, and it's at its peak, because I think what we're seeing is a battle here. Because with recruiting class dropping, that's letting you know that there might be a pull in money, right? Like the boosters are not bought in, which we've heard, but the UAA is holding strong on their word. And what's coming to a head of who's got the bigger schlong here, I think is what it's going to boil down to. Where my head is at, where I've kind of finalized, is like, look, we kind of battled it with that A&M game. I feel like that was your chance to do it. I think at this point, you ride the season out. In all reality, I don't see him going anywhere before that FSU game, to be quite honest, unless these next 2 weeks are just complete and just utter disarray, which he has given me the hope over these last 3 weeks that it shouldn't be that. I can't agree with that. Has he given me the hope that, hey, he won't make a blunder? No, I don't feel confident in those things yet. But I don't see him going anywhere. So that's where I'm kind of over the fact of, like, I don't see him being done in the middle of the season. Now, will he get will he not be terminated by the end of it? That part is still left to be unknown. I think with the playoff schedule, with the new signing day, I think they have to be a little bit more strategic on that. But if you think this conversation is going to go away anytime soon, it's only going to increase from week to week, whether it's net or negative, right? He goes out there and handles his things against Georgia. I mean, the conversation is going to flip 180. If he gets blasted, it's going to flip 180. If it's close, I think people are, I mean, it's going to be kind of where it is, but it might be louder. I don't know. It's crazy. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fun.
I have the chat telling me to stop bringing up old stuff. Do you guys realize that this happened this year, right? Like we lost to a crappy Miami team, lost to second string quarterback, got beat against a Tennessee team that was the coach actually ruined that game. That happened this year, guys. That's not me bringing up old stuff.
So hold on,
just to let you know.
Can I hold on? The only thing that I don't think this Miami team is fantastic, but they look like they're probably going to go to the AC Championship undefeated. So
well, yeah, they're playing a bunch of unranked teams.
I understand.
I mean,
but we can't say a crappy team. The A&M, that A&M team looks very good. I think that Elko has coached a very good football team, and I'm not making excuses. I still felt like we should have won that, not after the fact, but I felt like we should have been more prepared going into that game. But that's digressing. The Tennessee game is the only game that really hurts me. The other two I kind of like watched. It's like we just got straight up beat. We single-handedly lost the Tennessee game. But look, you're not wrong for looking at those factors. It's just those have to be considered. But look, this next week we'll talk about it some more, obviously, as we head into it. Look, this was a great show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in, and I think some people may be tired of hearing about the back and forth on Billy's future, but that's where we're at. I mean, that's just it's gonna. Look, it's evolving.
He beats Georgia. He beats Georgia, Texas. He does really well the next 4 games. Like, I can't sit here and say, oh, he doesn't. He's gonna get fired. Like, I can't sit here and say he's gonna get fired. Like,
if
I just can't
Georgia,
do it.
Texas,
like,
it's not even possible.
The thing that really, really irks me is the fact that, like, you've got assistants contracts that are going to expire and your recruiting class is terrible. Like, how do you salvage that? I just don't I don't get how you salvage that in such a short amount of time. You would have to go portaling, and you'd have to hope that there's some really, really good portal gets to come in there for DJ Lagway next year. Now, if Lagway is throwing bombs, beating all these teams, I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to go, like, jump in the portal just to want to be throwing the ball from DJ Lagway. So maybe you do salvage something through the portal, but I mean, now I have to see it to believe it. I have to see it to believe it. Right now, I don't. But like, you beat 1 or 2 Texas or Georgia. Maybe you beat Ole Miss and LSU. Okay, I'm good. I remember before the season, I said you got to at least win 8 games for me to be impressed, and we're sitting halfway there with 5 games left.
True. I mean, look, it's doable. I think if you were able to win 2 of these games, or like, let's say you win a LSU and a like, I don't know if you Ole Miss, the timeline's a little short, but let's say you beat Georgia, Texas, which I know it's crazy, but let's just play the game here. It gives you about just a little under a month before signing day. That's plenty of time. Plenty of time to flip a class. So that's the part I disagree. But boys and girls, ladies and gents, good to see you. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Almost 300 strong at one point on this beautiful Friday, which is not our typical time of going live. So. And your guys'
I got one more thing to say.
Okay.
Sorry. I posted something about our class being like ranked 51st, and I said that's not where you want to be close to November. And then somebody said that, like, oh, this is part of Florida Gator media. They're trying to drag Bill or something like that. And I'm like, is this where you're supposed to be in November? I'm just making a point. Like, I don't care what happens to Billy. Like, if he
there's
stays,
been a weird. That's the part that frustrates me is that look, like there's this battle going.
I can't have an opinion, Shelton. Like, so I can't just say anything negative about Florida because I'm a media person. So I will just say everything positive. Florida's going to win the next 5 games, and we're going to have the number 1 class.
Yeah, there's a couple of people on Twitter. I won't say their names because I know they're some of your boys, but they kind of stir the shit up and the stick up a little bit. Like, we talk about things that are happening. We bring things to the surface. To say that we're trying to drag or do anything negative to the brand, like that's blasphemy. To be honest with you, it's simply like you said, pointing out a point, aka reporting the news. Literally, like it's not. It's public knowledge, and we're raising questions that as fans, there's question marks when you follow. It's like, hey, we shouldn't be here. This thing that we're trying to drag or look, Dave's not a big supporter. I will agree. Dave can be a bit negative at times, but there's just multiple ways of looking at it. I don't know. I try to even stay out of it because it's like, look, there's like a.
See, this is the thing.
We're
I
talking
try
sports,
to be
dude.
fair.
We're trying to have fun.
I try to be fair, but at the same time, I try to get the point across of like where my head's at, where my opinion's at. Doesn't mean that I'm right. I mean, it's just because I say something doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just my opinion.
I remind Dave when he's wrong, by the way, too. So don't forget that. $5 from Rich Residents. Come on, boys. We all know Billy Ballsack was good. Just going into OT.
Yeah, just remember that anytime that I'm wrong, Shelton's gonna bust my balls on the show. So don't worry about it.
Let him know. I'm coming, Bubba. Boys and girls, we love you. Be sure to smash the like button. I appreciate all your kind words, your love and support. When we were sick, my son, all those things meant the world to me. It sucked not being here, but I'm glad we were able to get this bad boy in. You guys be good. Have a good weekend. See you tomorrow morning live at 9:35 for High Top Game Day. Till then, I'm Shelton. That's Dave. Peace and love.
Support
baby.
the dudes.